Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whoever you are, wherever you are, and however you may be watching or listening, you are listening to the Talking with Todd segment of the Stuff Podcast. I'm JC Shirley, joined today, as always, by my co-host,
CJ Pierce,
and our wonderful recurring guest, who is now not almost a doctor, but he is still the president of Northwest State. Todd Hernandez. How you doing, boss? It's good to see you.
Doing well. Good to see you guys as well.
Yeah, we skipped last week. We all had a couple business matters to attend to, so It's good to be back in the proverbial saddle, if you will.
Yeah,
Just getting to chat.
To them, it's not us skipping last week, because last week they saw us because we recorded that one the week before.
I don't know what's going on.
But hi, regardless of how long it's been.
Yeah.
I hope they're confused, because I know I am.
Oh, me too. It's great.
We just all kind of do business in a perpetual state of confusion,
Yeah.
but it works well.
Yeah.
So, Todd, what do you have for us this morning?
So I've just completed my first month as the president of Northwest State, and I want to share some reflections that I had after my first month.
So,
Sweet.
What's your take on our campus, on the academics of the situation? Just kind of talk to us a little bit about how your first month has gone for you.
Yeah, so two kind of thoughts come to mind. The first one's gratitude, and the second one's pride. Obviously, I'm very grateful to be able to be in this role, first of all. But second, I'm grateful to our staff and faculty that come to work every day with open minds and open hearts for our learners. And I'm grateful to our learners to trust us for their education, because education is still the best pathway to a better life. So gratitude it really sticks with me after this first month. And then pride. Dr. Tom Stuckey was our sixth president at Northwest State, and one of his terms that he'd say quite a bit was stick-to-itiveness, like, sticking to it. Mm-hmm. And he's really talking about grit and resilience, and I've seen so much of that this year. I talked with a couple of our learners last week. They just wanted to talk to me about campus life and what can we do here to kind of liven things up, and they're past the pandemic as well. Like they want to get out and socialize, but what they shared with me was their story, and we have so many learners here with a story, right? We all have a story. One of them maybe 19, couldn't have been 20. 1-year-old daughter at home, working full time, taking classes full time. Like the grit and the resilience to just keep going. It's not easy for anyone, and the other learner had a very similar story, working with the family business, trying to keep it up and going to school full time. So really just not pride for me, but pride in the grit that our learners and staff and faculty show. It's incredible to be part of.
Yeah, there's a real, a collective spirit of toughness. We've all, as we are hopefully winding down the pandemic as more people get vaccinated. I am now double vaccinated as of a week from today, actually, or a week ago today. Yeah. So that's some exciting stuff. But as we're kind of getting past the pandemic, we're sort of bonded together because of some shared hardship that we've all gone through, and I think that's exactly what you're talking about.
We've really created a community as an institution this past year, and we've always been that. But this past year has made it super community, if you will. We're all in this together, and nobody has to get through it on their own. There's people to your left and people to your right that are willing to help.
Yeah, I know. Personally speaking, during the whole COVID lockdown, digitally so, and then as we kind of got back in person, I became associated with people who I typically wouldn't have, aside from COVID, and it was because I needed their help and they needed my help. Yeah. And we all
that's kind of how we became friends. This kind of is a offshoot of that whole situation of just we were bored and started hanging out on Zoom during the week, and then
Thursdays at 11:30 to 12:30.
And then it became every day for a little while, and then just different people from the campus. It's how we really became connected with Mike Jacobs, with Dr. T would hop in every once in a while. it was fun because we were building community, and I think we're still continuing to build that community with things like we were doing last week with Yacht Fest and things that we've got going on here in the future with different events and different just ideas that are happening at Northwest State. I think it's super excited to see how the community continues to build.
The end of the spring term in higher education is kind of a natural kind of ending before the next beginning, right? It's not the end of the calendar year, but it's the end of our academic year, and I want to remind people to take a few minutes just to kind of reflect. Over the past year, everyone's had some accomplishments. Take a look at the good that's occurred and focus on that before rolling your sleeves up and using your grit just to keep right on going. But it's important to take pause.
It is. I know I've got one more week here, finishing up this week of coursework, and then finals next week. I'll have a little bit of coursework to do then also. But then I've got about a month to go before I take my week vacation. And I know I'm going to use that month, at least a week of it, to just sit back and reflect on the good stuff that happened this semester. And Lord knows there was a lot of that. And then on the stuff where I can improve. Because I think, something that I've noticed about myself is that we've had a long time to improve ourselves. And me specifically, I know I have not taken advantage of that as well as I should have. I swore I was going to have a six-pack by the time we got out of COVID.
Yeah, it didn't happen. No. Me either. So Todd, you have anything else for us today?
So commencement's next week.
Yes, it is.
Really looking forward to that. I always want to remind people to remember the PIL, people integrity learning. We've talked about it here. Strive for progress. Every day we can do a little bit more, become a little bit better. Remembering to pause when it's appropriate. I'm surprised you haven't asked me about my doctorate, but we don't have to talk about it if you don't want.
Well, I think
Todd.
Well, we decided to give you. It was kind of a not vocalized decision, but let it slide for this week. But since you brought it up,
Oh no.
let's see. Last time on Almost Doctorate, Todd, we were talking about you had just given your oral defense, right? You had given your oral defense, and then, Lordy Lord, it had been approved by two of your committee members?
Yeah,
Something
so
like
the
that?
process is you finish the oral defense, committee has to approve it, university researcher has to approve it, form and style, then it goes to the CAO. And the CAO, so it went through all those processes, and the CAO sent it back for edits.
Oh.
So I'm all the way back down here, and so I made the edits, and it's been through the committee again, it's been through the university researcher, and it's back to the CAO, and if you're watching the CAO, just sign it. It's done.
Nice.
Did you kind of feel like you're just beating your head against the wall a little bit?
And that's that grit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I could sit here and complain about it, but it's the process. Just keep going through the process, and if nothing else, this process has made me better.
Yeah, for sure. That is, and second time's a charm, right? We'll see if we'll get it through here.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, speaking of commencement, I had a faculty member come up to me this week and ask if we could give them a shout out, their department a shout out on the show.
Absolutely.
So just a shout out to the medical assisting program, especially the graduates from this semester. You guys really held in there through COVID and through everything. And
I just cannot imagine that, the MA program here is tough enough.
Yeah.
I have seen students from that program come down and, when we were working in the Success Center, beat their heads on the table just because of how hard and exhausting it is.
Yeah.
And then they had to do all the same work, but COVID on top of it. And good job, guys. You did a really good job.
Yeah,
and we're all proud of you.
And the graduating class from this year, they were running around campus on Wednesday, which I think that's what it'll be of last week when they're watching this, and matching T-shirts and running all over the place. And their instructor came up to me. He was like, "Hey, talking with Todd guy, could you take our picture for us?" And so I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we're affectionately referred to as the Talking with Todd guys now. But so just shout out to you guys, and thanks for watching the show. They said they're big fans. So
Awesome.
Well, that's exciting.
that's exciting. Yeah.
All right, guys. Todd, you got anything else for us?
I don't think so. I think that's a good way to end the show. Is shout out.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Also, shout out to Kemp Stapleton, who came and talked to me yesterday. So today's Wednesday the 6th.
Yeah, he wants people to go buy things in the bookstore.
Go buy things in the bookstore. But for all of you guys who are watching this, we're going to have Kemp on our show soon to talk about some new revisions and exciting updates to the bookstore website. I know he was talking to me a little bit about it yesterday, and it is some of the coolest stuff that you can hear about a bookstore. So
Yeah,
Hey,
that's true.
Kemp's a good guy to
Kemp's a
talk
good
to.
guy.
You have fun.
We
Kemp is
have a lot of fun every
hilarious.
time he comes in. But yeah, so I feel like that's probably about our time today. Thank you, Todd. It's always a pleasure, and we will see you back next week, right before commencement, probably. Sweet. Well, guys,
Thank you.
thank you for watching, listening, or however you may be
consuming our media.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Well, okay, guys, we're not going to do that anymore.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, stay excellent to each other.
And party on, my dudes and dudettes.
Peace out.